to be having internet connection problems today. Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh again. Greetings to all those seen and unseen. Thank you for joining us today. And continuing with our continuous journey in expansion of consciousness, understanding what's going on, trying to make sense of the chaos that we all find ourselves in, and ensuring that we develop as much immunity in our physical health, mental health, emotional health, and help ourselves to combat the challenges of the day. So, as we said a few months back, that by June, by kind of halfway through this, there is an increased level of confusion. What is right? What is allowed? What isn't allowed? Where one can go? Where one can't go? What is the impact of having had the intravenous intervention? What are the implications for fertility? Sense of calmness and regularity that begins to emerge. Let yourself not be fooled. Let yourself not be fooled. Our expectations, and we work within the understanding of energetic cycles, and so far we have been reasonably able to reasonably identify kind of markers along the way. So June onwards, the change in energy is anticipated to be one in which the need and the call for freedom increases, and on the other, this increasing gradient of pressure from a whole range of circumstances, but also innate concerns, just innate things that you may not have never thought before, begin to become prevalent and paramount in terms of some deeper questions. So I want to talk about today a little bit about health in terms of spiritual emergence. So there is a difference between religion and spirituality. So I'll use the word spirituality because it's kind of commonly understood. But let's define spirituality quite clearly. It doesn't have dogma. It doesn't have doctrines. It doesn't have a individual or a belief system. In fact, it's experiential. It's experiential. And it begins with a process of contentment. Contentment allows the mind and the heart to become coherent, to align. Compassion arises, self-compassion arises, and this begins to then change our worldview, change the way we interact with the world. So this emergence can be quite a painful emergence. And we are now starting to see little glimpses of this spiritual emergence coming through. So what are the symptoms of these emergence? Well, there's a whole range of symptoms, but let's begin with feeling lost. Let's begin with a sense of desperation at times, not belonging, the world seemingly becoming more and more chaotic, and trying to find meaning and reason to make sense of yourself and the world. And all those things that used to make sense to you, like work, employment, relationships, all of those start to become, the relationship begins to shift with that. And the relationship can have, therefore, and as a result, there is this, you can say, so I'm talking about the dark night of the soul kind of symptoms. And spiritual emergency are one, it's one phenomena with different intensity. Okay, the emergency is when individuals begin to experience things, begin to feel highly distressed emotionally, things that meant a lot to them and they worked for become meaningless, life becomes meaningless, and it almost nudges an individual towards self-harm, and it is the root of suicidal tendencies and suicidal thoughts. It is this need for a rebirth. And so spiritual emergence is the emergence of those symptoms, whereas spiritual emergency is more about the symptoms being very prevalent, very paramount. And I am not even looking at anything that is beyond the personal at the moment, you know. So we are now in that moment of time when spiritual emergence becomes part of the symptoms of the collective post-traumatic stress disorder that many individuals are now 18 months of lockdown and restrictions and fear and all that kind of stuff. So that intense pressure, mental distress, emotional uncertainty, physical a period of time. And so now, as the relaxation begins to become a little bit more open in what people are allowed to do, um, you will find that these symptoms begin to manifest in different ways. And we will do another session on how to recognize some of those symptoms and what we can do about them. So why we introduced the meditation right at the start as a collective approach was exactly to prevent this, which was to ensure that even in the chaos, we are able to de-stress ourselves to a degree, whatever degree we could. And as a result, we should be in a better position not to be as influenced as those people who didn't necessarily have that a choice or opportunity. So now the question is, all right, so now the question is, how do we deal with that? But more importantly, what has that led to? So what it's led to is an increase in suicide. Why is that any surprising? Well, it shouldn't be, because it is that rebirth, that desperation that takes you to a motivation that forces someone to that despair. Well, it's the product of this constant situation that we've all been experiencing. And so you should embrace it. You should realize that actually humanity is about to have its egoic sense of self, its illusion that it was in control, its illusion that it is somehow separate from existence and source, and denying its own divinity, denying, in fact, giving credence to its ego, false sense of self, and denying its true essence, which is to do with what we would term as spirituality. In the traditions that we come from, we would term has a little bit more immediacy to it. It's not that we do anything to become spiritual or etc. It is this communion space through moving within yourself in this communion space. And so this spiritual emergence, as it begins to come out, goes to demonstrate where humanity is moving towards. So over the next maybe 4 or 5 years, we will see the increase in a need for this to be satisfied. And as a result, you will find many masters and teachers and prophets and various other healers spring up, and everyone offered, their version of snake oil. But it is demand led, and that demand is a very real need. So it's important for us to recognize that there is this phenomenon. This phenomenon is something that we as humanity we're going through, is changing our consciousness. And in order to move into this greater place of consciousness, the egoic sense of self the virtual sense of self, the conditioned sense of self, needs to be deconstructed, and that's what's happening to it. And how is it deconstructed? Deconstructed is through that begins to fall apart. Um, it looks like some people are having problems with their internet connection. So what I will probably do today is um, maybe bring things to an earlier close, and we'll go through our meditation in a few minutes, and hopefully that can be um, uh, experienced as a collective. But really, I want to leave you with these words that we have now. We are as many different changes that will begin to appear over the next few weeks, if not a few days. And as I hinted a few months back, that, what happens when all of a sudden, that there is non-human life that's being presented to us, which is far more advanced than we are and ever have been. What happens to our worldview? What happens? A new way of looking at ourselves, and really having our minds blown. And in that minds blown, there is some distress that may be felt. But ultimately, we are moving towards a way in which what is given credence and what is given experience is our state of consciousness, and the egos are put into their place, which is their tool to be used and not the tool that uses you. So prepare. June, July, August, September, prepare, make sure your immunity is up to scratch. Vitamin D, K2, zinc, any supplements that you feel are valuable, do your research. But this is what we've been doing. And fear narrative, don't get involved in the dramas. They're nothing more than distractions, and at times they may be real dangers, and at times they may be just simply to hold the consensus in this fear place. Try not to risk your life by taking things that haven't been tested. Do your research. But now is the time to build your immunity, to prepare. The summer is the time to prepare as we approach autumn, where I think we will need many of our resources and our understanding collectively to move towards a very functional way of living, with supporting one another. So I expect changes. I expect changes in economic systems over the next few weeks. The 60%, the just-in-time system, which is what we spoke about 3 months ago, the stuff that brings stuff to your local supermarket and your building materials. Now you're starting to see that, but just-in-time supply chain starting to be interrupted. And as it is interrupted, things become in short supply or at the wrong time, which means time to prepare. Yeah, time to prepare. So, as ever, fear not, we're all looked after, and know that, the observer that is aware is able to navigate through the chaos, whereas those who are not aware will have to deal with the circumstances as they're being presented to them. So let's get on with our meditation, and we'll see where we end up. Okay. So, as ever, close your eyes and close your mouth. So we'll do a short meditation today, and we'll do a meditation to do with heart coherence in order to balance our heart, and simply because we have internet interruptions at the moment. So in order to do the heart coherence meditation, we begin first with a alignment. So which means you close your eyes, you close your mouth. Make sure that, if you can't breathe in through your nose, there's no compulsion not to breathe in through your mouth, but ideally it's good to breathe in through your nose. Pull your shoulders back, pull your spine up, pull your head up. Imagine someone's pulling you from the top of your head. Relax your thighs. And as you breathe in, begin to focus on you as a whole, sensing yourself. Sensing yourself, sensing the ground or the seat beneath you. And then when you sense yourself, notice that you are sensing the whole self from the tip of your head to your toes. And it may be just a diffused sense of self, but hold it together there if you can. And then we observe a few things. Let's observe the kind of thoughts we're having or have been having. What's been your story today? Bring your focus to your chest. And ask yourself, how do you feel right now? Do you feel calm, settled? Is this moment pleasant, comfortable? Or are you uncomfortable, unpleasant, distressed, anxious, fearful, unsettled? Dukh or sukh? Sukh means absence of suffering. Dukh means presence of suffering. How do you feel? Take your focus now to the seat that you're on and allow your body to be held and supported. So which means you can allow the flesh on your body to slightly soften while the bone, the skeleton holds you upright. Notice there are sensations where the body makes contact with the seat. Allow your awareness to move towards your hips. Allow your awareness to drift down your thighs. And from your knees, you move down towards your ankles. And then on your next breath out, moving to the soles of your feet. Sensing it. Come back to the seat you're on, your lower back. Notice the sensations there. Next breath in, bring your focus up towards your middle back. Next breath in, bring it up to your shoulder blades. From your shoulders, bring your focus to your elbows. From your elbows to your wrists. Palms of your hands. Fingers on your hands. Bringing your focus to your eyes. Notice the darkness. And as you breathe out, allow this part to soften. Moving your focus to your mouth. Notice your tongue. And as you breathe out, allow your tongue to soften. And on your next breath out, relaxing your face. And then focusing just beneath your nose. And as the breath comes in, becoming aware of yourself as best as you can. Stay with your breath. Notice the breath breathing in, breathing out. Stay with your breath. Stay with your breath. Notice if the breath goes down and the stomach expands as you breathe in, and how the stomach relaxes as you breathe out. May just be subtle movements, but see if you can notice them. When you're ready, gently bringing your hand, your palm, and placing it across your chest. The right palm goes first for women, left palm first for men. And you hold the palm against the center of your chest, palm against the chest. Focus on that. Focus on that. Focus on the warmth, the pressure of the palm of your hand against your chest. Notice the movement of the chest as the breath comes in and the breath goes out. Stay with the movement, stay with the sensation of the palm against your chest. And now as you breathe in, mentally counting 1 to 6 within yourself, as the breath comes in, 1 to 6 as the breath goes out. Regulating our breath. 1 to 6 as you breathe in, 1 to 6 as you breathe out. And now, slowing your breath down a little bit. See if you can count 1 to 7 as the breath comes in, 1 to 7 as the breath goes out. slowing your breath down deliberately. 1 to 7 as you breathe in, 1 to 7 as you breathe out. 1 to 7 as you breathe in, 1 to 7 as you breathe out. And now, slowing our breath as best as we can, 1 to 8 as the breath slowly goes out, as best as you can. Imagine there's a feather just on the end of your nose, and all you're trying to do is to make sure when you breathe in and breathe out, there is no movement. Slowing your breath. And again, just slowing your breath. 1 to 8 as you breathe in, 1 to 8 as you breathe out. And when you feel that the breath has slowed down sufficiently, bring to your mind something that invokes a bit of love, compassion, gratitude, appreciation. Bringing someone that you care for and you love, seeing them as a child. Allow this memory to have details so it begins to invoke a feeling within yourself that resides around your chest. As you focus on that which brings you love, compassion, gratitude, appreciation. Creating an inner smile, a smile that begins in the heart and begins to spread throughout the body. And when you feel that warmth within yourself, draw a slow, deep breath in, hold, and relax. Moving your focus now just beneath your nose. Allow your hands to find a place of rest, or you can stay with your chest. Your face is relaxed. Allowing you a moment to savor whatever sensations, feelings are present within you. Notice how your breath is flowing. Bring your focus to the sound of your breath. Follow your out breath all the way till the end. Listening to the sound of your breath until it stops at the end. Notice when it stops exactly. On your next breath out, opening your awareness to all the sounds around you and allowing this bell to take you into the silence. Allowing yourself to submerge in the silence at the end of this bell and at the end of your breath. Gently bringing your focus just beneath your nose and just sitting with your breath. Noticing the experience, noticing the peace, the absence of fear, the absence of anger, the presence of calmness, the presence of stillness, silence, balance. Conscious of this moment as best as you can be. Things are exact. On your next breath out, expanding your awareness to include your body. Becoming aware of where you are. Notice the sensations where your body makes contact with what you're sitting or lying on. Notice you can sense your thighs, your knees, all the way down to your feet. You can sense the soles of your feet. You know hands are relaxed and comfortable. Eyes are still closed. Mouth is still closed. And the face is relaxed. Sitting with your breath. And as the breath comes in, you sense your body. As the breath goes out, you sense your body. Recognize the moment that you have spent today connecting with yourself. Changes the vibrations and frequencies, not just of yourself, but all that surrounds you and further. Appreciating this moment that we've been given to connect and to contribute to the peace in the chaos. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw a few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, opening your eyes. Take your time. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. We may have had some internet interruptions, which are beyond my control. I hope you got something out of our sharing today. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be peaceful, may you be safe. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki